Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing this morning? Bam. So, I like to start my day off with something positive. So the first thing I like to do is, of course, thank Jesus. I like to write down 10 things I am thankful for. So before I even get my day started, I can remind myself of 10 things as to how God has already blessed me. So if you were able to write down your 10 things of how God has already blessed you this morning, write in the comments, I got my 10. Write in the comments, I got my 10. So before I get into my devotional, reminder this Sunday, 9 p.m. So tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I am doing my free See You at the Bank masterclass going over proper business structure, how to protect your assets, what contracts your business needs, how to get business funding that is solely in your business, EIN, how to market your business and get your target audience to your business, and how to make money in your sleep by selling a digital product. So if any of that's like, oh girl, I need that, then you want to comment bank in the comments. If you're on my IG page, if you're on TikTok or YouTube, you want to click that first link in my bio. Okay, so I read from the book Jesus Calling. Boom, boom. So for December 7th, it reads, I am with you in all that you do, even in the most menial task. I am always aware of you, concerned with every detail of your life. Nothing escapes my notice, not even the number of hairs on your head. However, your awareness of my presence falters and flickers. As a result, your life experience feels fragmented. When your focus is broad enough to include me in your thoughts, you feel safe and complete. When your perception narrows so that problems or details fill your consciousness, you feel empty and incomplete. Learn to look steadily at me in all your moments and all your circumstances. Though the world is unstable and in flux, you can experience continuity through your uninterrupted awareness of my presence. Fix your gaze on what is unseen, even as the visible world parades before your eyes. Let's get into it. So, I am with you in all that you do, even in the most menial tasks. I am always aware of you, concerned with every detail of your life. Nothing escapes my notice, not even the number of hairs on your head. So, what this is saying is that God knows everything. Jesus knows everything that's going on with you. So, when we are thriving in life, God knows. When we're going through a tough time, God knows, right? And so, you want to make sure that if you are going through a tough time, if you are having some challenges, that you don't get into that woe is me, that we don't get into that, oh my gosh, why me? How could this be happening? Is God punishing me? He left me. God never left, right? He's there. So he knows everything about us. He knows the good and he knows the bad. So if you're going through a tough time, if you're in a transition, if you got out of something and you thought you was going to snap back a little faster, whatever it is, baby, God is still there. He has not left you. So you can always call on him, right? Hey, God, help me with this. Because a lot of times we tend to think if we're going through something that means that something is wrong. If anyone is going through something who's on this live right now, maybe the go through is for your blessing. And you're going to be like, girl, this can't be for my blessing. You don't know what I'm going through. Sometimes the go through is for your blessing. Right now, in the season of you going through the fire, you can't see it. It may be painful. It may take everything out of you just to get through the day. But at the end of this season, at the end of whatever this is, you're going to see this is why I had to go through this. Maybe right before Christmas, you was laid off. Well, how can me losing my job benefit me? That ain't something good. Well, no, I didn't say it's going to be something good. Just because something benefits you doesn't mean that it's good. But maybe you losing your job, number one, maybe that had you refocus. Maybe God was trying to, I always say this, if God closes one door, it's because he's opening up a bigger one down the hallway. He closed the door so that you would keep on walking, right? So don't get stuck trying to keep opening up closed doors. So if you were fired, if you were laid off, if the job just went bankruptcy and just closed, right? The job just closed. That could be God redirecting your steps. Maybe it's time for you to get another job. Maybe that job was never going to promote you. So he had to have you lose that job so you would be on Indeed. Or he had to have you lose that job so now you would be at Starbucks during the day and you would accidentally run into an HR person who's looking for the exact same thing that you do. Maybe he had you lose that job or he took that job because it was time for you to go start your own business. But, you were getting too comfortable. You was never going to leave that good job. So God just wanted him to just push you out the way. So when something happens, stop thinking that God's not there. Stop thinking that something is wrong. Stop thinking that it's a punishment. He don't know what I'm going through. He knows everything that you're going through. Bam, here we go. However, your awareness of my presence falters and flickers. As a result, your life experience feels fragmented. Now, I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand first. How many of y'all on this live? My hand's still up. How many of y'all on this live, if you've ever gone through something, you feel like, and I know God forgot me here. I know God is busy helping somebody else because he sure can't know I'm over here going through this and ain't doing nothing to help me. How many times have we gone through something and we feel like God has left us? And we feel like we're being punished. We feel like we're in this all by ourselves. And so it's saying, your awareness of my presence falters and flickers. Meaning you feel like I'm not there. You feel like you're going through this alone. You're taking on all this anxiety, all this depression, all this worry because you're trying to fix the problem. Sometimes God puts us in a situation, God gives us a problem that he knows we can't handle. He knows we cannot get ourselves out the situation. He may have put us in that situation, number one, because he's trying to get us out of something. He's trying to push us in another direction. He may have made the situation so painful, so hard, so complicated because he wants to show you, number one, that he's there. If you're able to solve all your problems, how do you know how great God is? If everything that comes your way, you knocking it out. Well, baby, how do you know how great God is? So when someone says, oh, girl, how'd you get your business to grow? Or, girl, how'd you get over that depression? You're going to say, oh, girl, I read this book and I was just working my business and, I did this, I did that. But for anyone who's on this line, who's had one of them but God moments, right? Like, baby, if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't but God, you shouldn't even be here today. It was only because of God that you were still able to be able to hear talk. It's only because of God that you didn't swallow all them pills. It's only because of God that you put that gun down. It's only because of God that you kept on going. It's only because of him. So when God puts you through a situation that you know, baby, this ain't got nothing to do with me. This is nothing but God. When people ask you, oh my God, how did you and they say God, Jesus. And people are like, she always talking about that God stuff. How come she just won't really tell me what happened? She told you what happened. He told you what happened, but God, it wasn't them. So if you're going through something that's just real tough to understand, you're going through something that you're not going to be able, why is this light so dark? You're going through something that you know you can't get yourself out of. Stop being filled with worry. Stop being filled with anxiety. Stop staying up at night, walking them steps, trying to figure it out. And you got to realize, I got to give it to God. God sometimes puts us in a situation that we can't handle so that we know when we get out of it, we're not going to take any credit for it. We're not going to take any credit for it because we know it wasn't us. It was but God. The second reason why you may be going through a tough time that you're just not going to be able to bounce back from, or it's not going to be, a 2-week problem, it's going to be a longer problem, is because sometimes God may think that you forgot who you were. Maybe you have forgot how strong you were, how tenacious you were. And he wants to put you in a situation that with his help, not by yourself, with his help, when you get out of it, you be like, ooh, I didn't know I was that strong. And it's going to build something called character. It's going to build integrity. It's going to build strength to know that if I can overcome this, I can do anything. So, we want to make sure that his presence in our life doesn't waver and flicker, meaning this. I don't just think God is with me in my good times. When I'm in my harvest season, when life is great, woo, thank you, Jesus. But then when I get in my dark season, you feel like God, baby, he's still there. The same God that you was hooping and hollering to and thanking him for the blessings, he hasn't left. Just because tough times come, that don't mean that God left. He's with you with the tough times. If you think life's all about roses and strawberries, baby, you have a whole nother, baby, you need to get off this life and go somewhere else. That's not how life is. So, when your focus is broad enough to include me in your thoughts, you feel safe and complete. When your perception narrows so that problems or details fill your consciousness, you feel empty and complete. I'm going to say it again, y'all. When your focus is broad enough to include me in your thoughts, you feel safe and complete. When your perception narrows so that the problems or details fill your consciousness, you feel empty and complete. When you're going to go through, you're in your storm, you're in your season, it's dark. If we focus on God and God's presence, I forgot to put that on. When we focus on God and God's presence and what we know God can do for us. Whenever I got somewhere to go, I can't get myself together. When we focus on God and God's presence, what we know God can do for us, we feel safe. We feel like, okay, whatever I'm going through is fine because I know God's here. One way to make sure that you are staying in that safe space is to think about what has God already brought you from. What has God already saved you from in your past? What has God blocked from coming to you? Like, baby, I should have been had boom, 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 but honey, it was God that blocked that. Because see, sometimes the blessing is in the blocking of the curse. A blessing isn't always us just getting something. So when you are mindful that of God's presence, you're going to be able to feel complete, feel safe in your storm. Now, on the flip hand, when you are only thinking about the details of your problems, when you are only thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? Everything is now relying on you and your strength. That's when you're going to be filled with emptiness. And what else? Hold on. And incomplete. That's when all that anxiety, depression, worry, that's when all that comes into play. Because we are taking God out of the equation. We're looking at the timeline as if we have to fix it. And God's saying, as long as you still keep believing in me, I'm going to get you through it. Let's see. Now, I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand again because this is me. A lot of times we feel, okay, God, I'm with you as long as I see the entire plan. If I can see, okay, I'm here, and then here's the blueprint as to how this is going to end. Okay, I can trust in you. Go, okay, God, I see the plan. You showed me what it's going to be. Okay, I'm good. But type a number 1 in the comment if you know that's not how God works. Give me a 1 in the comment if you know that in every storm, God's not going to tell you everything as to how you're going to get through it. Sometimes God's going to say, you have to just have trust in me. I'm not going to show you the end. I'm not even going to tell you how it's going to get done. You have to just believe in me. And that's the scary part. That's the scary part. Because we don't see the end. We don't know how this is going to end. Sometimes God just shows us our next step. Not even steps. It's just the next step. So, for those who know, I'm going through the divorce. I'm going through a divorce from hell. I'm divorcing a sociopath. And so we are now on year 3. And for anyone who's new, I'll just do a quick run-do, right? Left a toxic marriage that became abusive. Once I decided to leave, my husband tried to kill me by shooting at me in front of our son at our dealership, which caused me to have to just pick up and move to a new state for me and my son's safety and start all the way over. He then took all the money out of our bank accounts, and then he locked me out of our businesses, so I had no money. So February 2022, your girl didn't have anything, and I had to start all the way over from scratch. That's the godly version, okay? That's the godly version. For all my people who are on the border of being a Christian, I'm going to say it this way. All those, people like, well, girl, that sounds sweet. Oh, now I'm going to give it to you real. I'm going to give it to the real ones. The ones, I'm a Christian, but don't push me because, God's still working on me. My son's father had me all the way messed up. I met this person when he had 2 failing businesses. Didn't have nothing. I was a very successful attorney. I wasn't looking at finances. As long as you got a good heart and some hustle, I can work with you. And in our 10 years of being married, we worked businesses together, although I did the majority of the work. I'm the brain behind everything. And when I decided to leave a toxic marriage and he was so out of line, but I keep it cute on the internet. I'm keeping it cute and classy. He's out of line. He's out of line. All right? He out of pocket, out of line, out of all of that. When I said I'm leaving, he should not have been shocked at all. If y'all can read between the lines. Out of his spite, out of him trying to break me, he then goes and takes all the money. So that now, in order for me to fight, anyone who's been in this situation knows fighting costs what? Money. So here I am having to pay attorney's fees. Here I am, like, why are we even fighting over the business? Like, baby, it's all, why are we fighting over this? You should be glad I'm leaving. You can now go and live your best life in these streets, right? So I was very upset with God because I didn't understand, like, God, why am I even going through this? I have worked, I have slaved for years, building this great life, sacrificing all of my wants and desires, putting the family above everything. How can this person just go and take everything? And God, you're allowing him. Like, where you at, God? So when I say all these things, I'm not just speaking like, oh my God, God is so great, God is so wonderful, God is so powerful, like, whoop, whoop. Baby, I've been there, done that. So when you're going through a tough time, you got to rely on when God has helped you out before, when God has blessed you before. And sometimes you're going to have to take yourself out of that situation and think, okay, why am I here? Like, I'm going through all this. It's not fair. But okay, well, God, okay, so maybe God's trying to show me something. What are you trying to show me, God? That's where it says when your perception narrows so that problems or details fill your consciousness, you feel empty. I felt empty for a while. It wasn't until same month I was empty. I was empty for a good maybe 30, 60 days, right? Then if you, in Texas, when you're going through a divorce, there's something called a temporary orders hearing, where you're going to have a hearing where you're going to decide what's going to go on, like what's the child support going to be, what's the custody going to be while the divorce is pending, right? Because you don't just get divorced in one day. So at that hearing, I'm still thinking, dumb me. Even with all the money out the account, even with me lock out the business, even with all of that, I'm still thinking, but he's not going to make my life just that crazy because I have our son. He's going to want to make sure that his son is protected. God said, girl, can you open your eyes? Can you open your eyes? So at our temporary orders hearing, that's when God revealed to me the real play. The real play was, girl, you have no idea who and what you was linked up to. And so at our temporary orders hearing, that's when I realized my husband's going to act like we don't have any money. In Texas, child support there's a cap on child support. They're going to cap your child support. They're going to cap the amount out as if the person only makes $10,000. Okay, so in Texas, you ain't going to borrow no child support. It's capped out. And I think $1,800 or $2,000. That's the most you can get unless you can show how the child has additional needs. So I'm not thinking I don't need to bring anything. I'm about to get $1,800, right? Like, what am I really about to do with $1,800? And before y'all say, what y'all gonna do with $1,800? Okay, when I left my marriage, our mortgage was $12,000. Okay, so I can kind of put it in perspective. We paid our gardener $2,500 a month to cut our lawn. We had a large property. So I'm not thinking I gotta go in here and prove how I need this little $1,800. Boy, was I wrong. So that's when I found out, oh, this is the play he's going to act like we don't have any money. And before someone says, well, how's he going to do all that? And the court, baby, once you go through something, you're going to see, baby, the court system is time, is attorney's fees, is court resets. It's going to take you some time to show all that. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going into court like, oh my gosh, I am only about to get this little $1,800. I got to still hustle up for this rent because my son is accustomed to a certain lifestyle, right? So $1,800 is not going to get us that many Benihanas and Amazons, and I don't cook. We always eat out, and he gonna order shrimp. It's just he got a whole different kind of lifestyle. So as I'm sitting in our temporary orders hearing, while he has on every chain, every watch, Rolls Royce Cullinan is parked out in the front. Baby, he pulled his mink out. I married someone who's, when I say ignorant. Sitting up there with the mink, talking about we don't have no money. But it was at that time that I said, God, there has to be a reason why I'm going through all of this. Like, I had like an outer body experience. Like, this man, the man I met when he didn't have nothing. The man I met when he happened to go to CarMax and turn in cars because he couldn't afford the cars. And I'm still saying, I'm going to help you get it back. I'm with you till the end. This one, the man that every time we had a financial calamity, he gonna be laid out, y'all. He gonna be laid out in the room in depression, and I'm the one going to work. It's okay. I'm looking at him like, oh, God, I understand why I'm here. I am married to a fool. You're trying to get me out of this situation. It's like God just showed me a snapshot of what I was really in. See, sometimes we holding on to stuff because we're used to it. You've been at that job for 20 years. Girl, you haven't gotten a raise in how long? You haven't been promoted to management in years. But you still holding on to that job. You in that friend circle. You know they're talking about you. But we've been friends since elementary school. We shot marbles together, so you still ride with people who don't like you. So it was in that moment, I was just like, God, are you serious? And he's showing me dead serious. Bet. He winking at me on stage like, and if y'all met the real Joy, she a little ignorant. I'm on here on Bible and business, but I'm ignorant, right? I literally had a sense of calm. I was like, God, I don't even know why I'm in this. I don't know what's going on. I need you to show me why. And all I heard him say was, be still. Just be still. So we get through the court. We get through our hearing. So I get $700 a month in child support. Whoop, whoop. And this is, okay, Joy, I'm not going to get no money from where I created all the money. I'm not going to get none of that. But I'm not going to be stuck there. How many people get some bad news and y'all stuck with the bad news? You on that telephone talking about your situation. You talking to your mama, you talking to your sister, you talking to your cousin, and how they gonna do that, and how they gonna do this, and how come, baby, how's that paying your bills? How's that helping your situation? So I said, I just said, God, let me not say I said, God said, leave it alone. So I stopped focusing from it. Never mind, whenever you have a court date, I will then rise up, get all the stuff my attorney needs to show how he's stealing from the business and taking all the money. But in my day-to-day, I'm not focused on that because I can't control that. And I started focusing on creating a new normal for me and my son. I started focused on creating a new business. Okay, you're going to take this one from me? Bet. I started all of our businesses in this marriage. I'll just go start another one. And that's what I did. But I was only able to do that because my focus was broad enough to include God in my thoughts. I took myself back to another time when I knew God had blessed me. If God blessed me back then, why won't he bless me now? I don't understand this. I don't understand going through a divorce and someone trying to take everything. I don't understand selling of a house. I'm gone. I moved to Florida. And y'all take all the furniture. I get a kitchen table and the bedroom set, and it's just like, girl, go on. It's like this little divorce is just like, it just gets, my little story gets worse and worse. I just kind of cap my story for Instagram as this little stuff, right? So I'm like, it gets worse and worse. But I kept focusing on God wouldn't have me go through this for no reason. So God, show me what is the reason. So I am now focusing on my new life, my new normal, starting something new, getting my son together, getting myself financially where I need to be, getting myself back. Every time we go to court, reset, this, that, a little slap on the hand, nothing real major changing until year 3. Until year 3. Until year 3. So, when I say that God may be having you go through something for your benefit, in the beginning, you don't understand how you're going to benefit from this. In the beginning, ain't no way it's going to benefit me. Ain't no way something good can come out of this. Because you don't know what the end result is. You don't know what God's trying to move you out of and move you to. So, gotta get back to Jesus calling. Learn to look steadily at me in all your moments and all your circumstances. Learn to look at me in all your moments and all your circumstances. So I said, okay, God, just go ahead and take this. Take this. I can't do this. I can't start all over from scratch. I'm mad that I'm having to start all over from scratch because in this time in my life, I had done so much work to build this great life for me and my family. Why am I having to start over? I ain't do nothing wrong. God said start over. So I started over with nothing. He in the $1 million house. He got all the cars. He got all the money. I have Jesus. He got the multi-million-dollar house. He got all the cars. He got all the money. But I got Jesus. I started focusing on what I did have, not what I did not have. I started focusing on what I did have and not what I didn't have. I started focusing on what God was helping me with, what God was getting me through. Every single day, I am listening to a sermon all day because although I'm talking about God, your girl was going to go get in a plane and fly to Houston and just burn that down. If I ain't going to have no, we ain't going to have no, ain't none going to have nothing. I was there. I ain't going to act like God is good. I told y'all I was ghetto. But by me listening to God, by me listening to all this, trying to just keep my focus on where it needs to be, keep my focus on what I can control. I cannot control this situation. I cannot control how this person is purposely trying to hurt me. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to stop trying to make sense of a senseless situation. I'm moving on. God, you have to tell me why, because this don't make sense. But I'm moving on. I can give no more focus to this. And by me listening to this, I would listen to gospel. I would listen to YouTube sermons from preachers, T.D. Jakes, Keon Henderson. And I just kept saying, God, show me. See, I'm in this for a reason. You can be the victim or you can be the victor. You can be the victim or you can be the victor. It's all on how you see your situation. So I said, well, shoot, I'm in it. Let me be the victor. So, okay, God, you've already got me through several things. You are closing this door. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not knocking on it. I'm going to leave it alone. You close the door, I'm knocking on it. My attorneys, what do you need? Here you go. But I'm not focused on that. And I always kept my mind on God. Always. Bam. Look to me steadily in all your moments, in all your circumstances. And when you lean on God, he's going to get you through. When you lean on God, listening to him for his direction, not what you want. God, have my divorce in 6 months. Well, baby, what if God's answer isn't 6 months? What if God's answer is, I'm going to have you go through this divorce for 3 years, but there's a reason I'm having you go through this divorce. There's a reason why I'm having you being persecuted. I'm doing all of this for a reason. There's a reason why you had to file bankruptcy. There's a reason why you had to lose that child. There's a reason. Though the world is unstable and in flux, you can experience continuity through your uninterrupted awareness of my presence. So, in my mid-40s, I had to start all the way over from scratch. In my mid-40s, I had to let go of a multi-million-dollar business that I built from scratch. I could look at it that way, or I could look at it like this. God delivered me from a toxic situation that was never going to get better. God delivered me from a family that had been slowly trying to kill who I was, my essence, my joy. God delivered me and said, hey, this season of your life is over. The season that you know, the life you know, that's over. But type in the chat, more than one life, if you know you can have more than one life. You can have more than one life, meaning this. Your life can change, and it can change for the better. And by me staying focused on what God has already done for me in my past, by me being open to see, okay, well, God, what doors you opening up now? What we talking about? What you want me to do? Where you want me to go? Direct my path. See, I'm no longer focused on, I got to get my life back. I got to get what I had back. I got it. God's saying, girl, I'm about to give you something better. Someone type better in the chat. I'm about to give you something better. But a lot of times we want God to give us an even exchange. You give me this, I give you that. You give me this, I give you that. You give me this, and that's not how God works. It's not going to be even exchange. Sometimes you have to give God what he's taking, meaning release. Hey, I'm about to go. All right, God, you are taking this, take it. I ain't going to fight you for it. But know that he's taking it for a reason. And the reason is he's going to give you something better. But he wants to know, are you going to trust him? Are you going to trust him? Are you going to allow him to take something and you not know what's coming? And in the midst of not knowing what's coming, he's positioning you for what is better. That job fired you. Oh, you was hurt. But because that job fired you, you then got on Indeed. You then started putting your resume out there. And Lord and behold, another job with better benefits, a bigger salary comes your way. But you would have never gotten that job had you stayed where you were. Your boo left you. He left. She left. How can they do that, woman? And God's like, oh, that's not your person. That's not your person. I'm trying to get you to your person. I'm trying to get you to your purpose partner. But here you are holding on to someone else's man, holding on to someone else's woman. And God's saying, girl, king, this ain't it. I got something better. Someone type in the chat, better. God knows more than you. God hears what people saying. God sees how people moving. So if the person walks out your life, or in my situation, if a person just treats you so bad, they're just waiting on you to leave because they don't want to leave, because they don't want to look like, I'm bad. I want to put it on the other person. They make your life so miserable that you have to leave. It's because God is saying, I got something better. You had to close the business. God got something better. I have never met a millionaire who became a millionaire either on their first business or without no trials and tribulations. You lost the business, but you can't lose the experience. You can't lose the knowledge. You can't lose the information. So he closed that one down because you was in the wrong industry. He closed that one down because you had the wrong business partner. He closed that one down because that wasn't going to be your forever business. That was a startup business. That was the one, where you're going to take all these losses, get all that on-the-job training, right? On-the-job training. So on that next business, you know exactly what to do and what not to do. So now we know how to work this second one. You had to file bankruptcy. You know you wasn't on a real budget. You know you didn't have any kind of financial literacy. You thought, I'm going to live how my paycheck's supposed to be. I can afford it, right? You didn't learn that can you afford it, it's do you need to afford it? So now that you filed bankruptcy and you've got some financial education, now you're like, I got to save, I got to have, now you know. But filing bankruptcy, that ain't a death. You're going to come back from the bankruptcy. You're going to come back from the bankruptcy. You're going to have a better credit score after the bankruptcy. You're going to have credit cards. You're going to have all it after bankruptcy. But now when you get your money this time, you know what to do with it. The house didn't come through. Every time you try to get you a house, the mortgage never comes through. Something always happens. And you over here crying. You over here mad at God because in your mind, you're supposed to be a homeowner. I said in 2024, I'm going to be a homeowner, and just one house fell through. And so now, woe is me, and my life is so miserable because everyone has a home, and I just don't have a home, and ain't nothing wrong with me. I ain't got a terminal illness. Ain't no one just died. I'm not paralyzed. I got all my senses, but I can't get this one little home. So woe is me. And God said, girl, It only had 4 bedrooms. How your mama gonna live with just 4 bedrooms? How are your kids gonna have a room and you gonna move your in-laws in and your mommy and daddy with 4 bedrooms? I told you homes. You gonna have a home, your mom gonna have a home all on the same block. Not that little small block. But you mad because God don't answer your prayers. God is answering your prayers with the no. God is answering your prayers with the redirection. God is answering your prayers and blessing you by closing the door, by shutting the job down. That denial is the denial for something bigger and better. So I share my story because I talk about these things. I want to put some context to it. I'm not just up here talking about how God is good and my life is perfect. Because I'm sure someone on this live can relate with something I just said because I've been through the fire. But going through the fire, if you have God, if you focus on God, He's not going to allow you to get burned. You're going to go through it. It's going to get worse or it gets better. So don't just hang up on this live and say, "Ooh, it's going to be a great day today." Baby, the devil hears them prayers too. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But I promise you, whatever God takes, He's going to give you bigger. You just have to wait on it. He never takes anything away from you to give you less. Okay. Well, if y'all are in the ATL and going to the real estate secret event, I will see y'all there. Let me get this little unit together. And if you want to go to my free masterclass this Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, going over business structure, asset protection, marketing. You want to comment bank in the comments if you're on my Instagram page and you want to click that first link in my bio. If you're on my TikTok page or on YouTube, remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Remember, it is not how you start, it's how you finish. So bet on yourself so you can finish strong, okay? Everyone have a great Saturday, and I will, of course, see you. See, so I'm always late. I'm always late because I'm going to do one thing and I'm going to change it up. Then when I change it up, I'm not going to like it. Okay, so everyone have a great Saturday. Am I going to do a mushroom or am I going to do a side? Am I going to do a mushroom? Let me get out of here, y'all, so I can be on time. Everyone have a great Saturday, and I will, of course... Oh, Tiger, your emails, Tiger on TikTok. Your emails come back undeliverable. Tiger on TikTok, your emails come back undeliverable. So can you email us from another email address? We get your emails, then when we respond, whenever it is your system comes up saying that it comes up undeliverable. Tiger, it says a message undeliverable. I've responded to you 3 times, Tiger. So Tiger on TikTok, email me from another email address because what you're using doesn't, I can't respond to it. So I get your email because you keep saying follow up. And when I send the response, I get the error message coming back to my email address, undeliverable. So you can either email me at another address or you can text my number. Text my office, 817-884-4844. Text my office phone, 817-884-4884, or just email me from another email address. All right. Have a great Saturday, and I will, of course, see you for the bank. See you for the bank. See you at the bank. See you at the bank. See y'all.